All right. Damn, I'm trying to heat up on hell. Either way, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Late for the Party on Anchor FM. I am your host, Melodious, aka Cover Boy, the Modern Marvel. That's right, you guys. We are going to get into an In My Mind discussion about, an In My Mind segment about E3 coming to a close, but also more importantly, that GameSpot's interview that they had with Dotemu uh, founder and Lizardcube's co-founder, who are responsible for my favorite game thus far, Streets of Rage 4. Now, you guys may think that I talk about this show, about it a lot, but this game is one of the most classic games I've played. The franchise that I've held dear for me for a very, very long time. And then more importantly, that this game, like, if it wasn't for like Streets of Rage 1 and 2, we wouldn't have and 3. I'm not going to stunt. 3 wasn't like the best one out of the two, but I'd say like with how the game is and whatnot, yeah, definitely hands down, probably thus far is probably one of the best franchises I've played, even with Streets of Rage 4 coming out of left field. So my thing is that they had the interview, and they're talking about how the game, it's almost like at the point when they're talking about how the game successfully did last year, they were shocked and surprised that it did this well. Don't get me wrong, they were going up against some serious heaters last year. We had Final Fantasy VII Remake, we had Ghost of Tsushima, and we had Spider-Man Miles Morales. We had some pretty deep heavy hitters, and Final Fantasy VII came out maybe a couple of months before Streets of Rage 4 did. Streets of Rage 4, I think Ghost of Tsushima came out a little before around that time as well. But the thing is that, I felt like they were really not really knocking the fact that it did that successful. I think they just weren't. They didn't think it was going to be that. It was going to be that successful. I think they didn't really think it was going to be that. They'd make this much of noise. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I feel that, if you're going to be behind a product, and if you're working on a product, this is my whole thing. It's like, for me doing my podcast, like, I believe in it. I'm going to go at it full tilt. Now, if people look at it or not, hell, I believe in, like, it's going to do its due and do its service. So, for them, I'm pretty sure they had an idea after the fact, but I feel like in the beginning stages, they even said, like, a lot of people who were, when Streets of Rage 4 was going in development, they didn't feel that it was going to do well. Obviously, it's a genre, the beat 'em up genre is like non-existing in this day and age, but once everything starts going into traction, it just changed everything. And keep in mind, the Streets of Rage franchise alone is probably, in my eyes, and for me, was one of the most anticipated games that I wanted to see come out. Like, even over Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like, honestly, I was looking forward. Like, keep in mind, that's been out longer than Final Fantasy VII in truth, if you really think about it, because it's been a while since we actually had. Then you have folks folks making remakes of Streets of Rage, and and wanting it to come back, and it goes to show how big a deal a game is when you don't see it around anymore, and it made that much of an impact. Like Streets of Rage 2, hands down, is probably one of the greatest games of all times. It has to be in that caliber. It has to be on that level of like Sonic's and freaking Mario games. And if you even want to put in Madden or whatever, you can't not have Streets of Rage in that in that system, in that caliber. I mean, let's look at it like this. Like, they definitely, hands down, Streets of Rage is bar none one of the reasons like put the world back on notice. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's a big deal. Like, they literally brought back Streets of Rage alone literally brought back a genre out of extinction. You know what I'm saying? Like the arcade beat 'em ups. Don't get me wrong, there's been some around, but even for the years that before Streets of Rage 4 even came out, but they didn't make any success. There wasn't that much of a success for it. I mean, even for like Scott Pilgrim, when it came out, it just disappeared. But once freaking Streets of Rage 4 came out, then as popular as that game was, all of a sudden, then here comes Scott Pilgrim, and that was based off of it was more off of a arcade beat 'em up. And keep in mind, Streets of Rage is not even arcade game. It was a console. It was strictly the Sega Genesis, the Master System. Anything like that shows that's a very big deal. I mean, considering the fact that what did we have before Streets of Rage, or what was supposed to be the top dogs of beat 'em ups around that time that that should have held that crown, or like let's go down the line. Final Fight, where are they at? Can't find them. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where were they at? I mean, they were here and there and floundering around, but they didn't make this kind of notoriety not until Streets of Rage 4 came back out. And then look, all of a sudden now, the same developers who did Streets of Rage 4 is going to be doing freaking Shredder's Revenge. I'm looking forward to that. Double Dragon. What about that? The people who've been doing Double Dragon and River City Ransom, they've been popping out games for years, even remakes of the original games, even the arcade version. I mean, even when Double Dragon Neon came out, it didn't do, I mean, it was cool, but it wasn't on no Streets of Rage status. I mean, hell, it's only been a year and some change that Streets of Rage has been out, and it's made some serious noise. I mean, even for me to be on my podcast, I mean, I'm starting to see some traction with it because of Streets of Rage as well. I mean, and it's a big deal. I mean, Streets of Rage has pretty much made some serious milestones. I mean, when you look at it, the first lady of beat 'em ups, Blaze Fielding, who was also the team leader of the group. I mean, as Streets of Rage 2 is like one of my favorite ones. Not only that, you had the main character, a female, who was the team leader of the group, saving a guy at the end of saving a former teammate at the end of the video game. That's milestone. That's groundbreaking. They weren't making video games around at that time like on stuff like that, and straight out. I mean, dope shit, man. Like, I gotta give props to Streets of Rage in general. I mean, I gotta give props to Dotemu and Lizardcube and Game Crush, like, for even putting it out there. I mean, like I said, I mean, the genre of beat 'em ups, they said that it was like a dead genre. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't do too much with it. Once you get past it, it's over. But the thing was, even with Streets of Rage 2, like, anybody who has the Sega Genesis little anthology games, most of the Streets of Rage and like Sonic and Streets of Rage were in rotation. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, that's a big deal. And like I could still go back on to playing Streets of Rage 2 and still have a ball. I remember playing it with my brothers and sisters and my dad. And you know, we go through runs with that game, you know what I'm saying? Even with Streets of Rage 1, you know, like that's definitely hands down one of the greatest games of all time. And honestly, like looking forward to seeing where it goes in the future. More importantly, like at the end of the interview, they were asking GameSpot, they were asking about when is going to be the release date. So, and the founder of Dotemu were saying that it's not a good idea to actually do a release date of the release date during E3 because so much other stuff is going on. So they said it was going to be after E3. So when is it going to be? Like, when is it? And they said they were going to talk about the survival mode and see exactly how. I mean, they're going to tell the interview, not the interview, the trailer of trailer of survival mode is actually going to have the release date when it comes out. So, but they said they didn't say when exactly. But I feel that this is going to be my prediction. I feel like since E3 is officially over, it was over as of today. If anything, if I would give it maybe a week, if anything. Some people would say a day. I'd say about a week. I say about a week before we actually get the trailer for the survival mode on Mr. X Nightmare, and possibly get the release date when that happens. But if not, then maybe at the end of the month. I don't know. I mean, sometimes with all the trailers that they brought out before, I mean, they were kind of sporadic between like almost 3 weeks to almost 4 weeks, damn near. So, either way. So, I mean, we just recently got Shiva not that long ago. Well, so, I mean, I say maybe, if not by, if I'd be surprised if they did it by like today or tomorrow, maybe over the weekend. But if anything, I'd say I'm predicting maybe a week from today. If not, then I'd say at least probably at the end of the month, maybe on the 27th. But either way, man. But they pretty much gave us some answers. I feel like survival mode, they were kind of vague. They asked how many stages. The interviewer asked how many stages the game had, and they kind of wanted to shy away from it. They didn't want to talk about how many stages that there was. And if you're talking about survival mode, I don't think there should be even stages for survival mode. I think survival mode should be endless. It's a survival game. Like, at that point, it's about how far you can go with whatever life that you got. You know what I'm saying? So either way, man. Oh, man. Woo! But yeah. Oh, and also didn't hear anything about Skate yet, so don't know, man. But yeah, real talk. Shit. So let me get off the hook, man. I just wanted to say that and see anything. If anybody has any comments or questions or anything, you can check out the interviews on. It was Play and All. I keep forgetting. I keep lost track of it. But also, you can check it out. It was on. I looked at it also on Major Players channel. So hell yeah. But either way, you guys. But I'm gonna get off the hook. But like always, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and support the podcast. Also, check out the cool merch on teespring.com or now spring.com at the Late for the Party store, where you can get all the cool merch for Late for the Party. So either way, you guys, I am your host, Melodious, aka Cover Boy, the Modern Marvel, signing off. And as always, if you want to be late for the party, turn it up to 11.